Hello guys, my name is Dr. Varun and here I am back with the second video of the 30 days, 30 important topics.
Chalo, let's complete it.
So today we're gonna start with our second chapter, that is biological classification. So which topic is important? Kingdom fungi is important in it. So we're gonna start with it. Why I'm taking kingdom fungi? Because it is little tough. There are the words, statements that might seems like what is going on. So we will try to understand in this video. Well, if we see the basic thing about the kingdom fungi, so what do we used to say that? We used to say that they have what? Till now we remember what? They have what? Cell wall present. So cell wall is present here. Now the next question would be, it is made up of what? Chitin. So this thing you have to remember. That's why we have even used the word that if we are using a biotechnological, in the biotechnological field, any organisms, genes from the fungi, we need to isolate by breaking the cell wall. And if it is a fungus, then we will use what? Chitinase enzyme. So same thing comes over here. The next thing is that they are heterotrophs. When I'm saying that they are heterotrophic organisms, means they can't make their own food, means they are dependent on other organisms, and because of that they show diverse morphology and in the terms of habitat where they are living. So have diverse morphology, how they look like externally, and habitat. Now let's just try to understand this thing with the examples given by the NCERT. So NCERT says that there is, if you have ever seen that if something is getting rotten up, like for example, if the bread is getting rotten up, we see that the greenish brown or black color structure present on it, and it is foul smelling. So that is what? It is the fungus. So what that fungus is known as? Bread mold. And this belongs to the it belongs to the rhizopus. The rhizopus is the name of the organism which is doing it, okay, the fungus which is doing it. So basically anything which is getting decay, okay. So first thing is what? They might be present at the place of dead and decaying matter is present for their food. So this is what I am telling about the nutrition. Okay, so that if that they are taking from that, we call it saprophytes. Second thing is, for if they are in an association with certain organisms, they can't make their own food, but they are obtaining food from others. Who can make food on this planet Earth? Only plants. So there are two types of things are there. So another way is in a symbiotic relationship. They also do certain work, but most of the other work, like the food work, is being done by the partner. So it is like roommates kind of a thing. So when you have a roommate, one roommate will always is the one who makes food, other one bring all the material for the food. Same thing over here. The fungus will bring the material needed for the food making or any other thing or the basic requirement, whereas the partner will give what? Give the food. Okay, so this is what we will studied it as a mutualism kind of arrangement, where you have what? Either you will have a lichens kind of arrangement, or there could be an arrangement of mycorrhiza. Now in the lichens, there is what? With algae they are working. So the algae is plant. So the name that this component partner is called as phycobiont. Whereas in terms of fungus, the fungus will be called as mycobiont. Okay, so then mycorrhiza, here what happened? It is with the pinus. Pinus belongs to what? Gymnosperms. Algae belongs to what? Algae, like the thallophytes. Okay, so with the pinus, the roots are in symbiotic relationship with fungus. This is one another way. Another way is what? That they are present on the dung of the organisms. And if they are present on the dung of the organisms, we call them what? We call it coprophilous. Okay. So your mushrooms are going on that, toadstools, all these things are over there. But this is not the only thing we know about them. We also know that they are present on what? They might be present on the plant and animal. But here they work as what? Parasitic. Remember, in the human health and diseases, there is a topic where the fungal infections we are talking about. So 3 different genus of the fungus we have studied over there. So that can also be put over here. Okay. So trichodermophyton, epidermophyton, all of these things we have studied, that can be asked over here. Okay. But if you remember it more betterly, the example which is given over here. So in plant which is causing disease, that one is we have studied that Puccinia. So Puccinia causes wheat rust, or it affects the mustard family, so mustard rust. Okay. And in the animal, they are living on the fur of the animal. So that is sloth. So on sloth fur, it is living over there. Then this is not the only thing we remember about this. We have other examples also present for this. So what are the other things we should remember about the fungus? That this is not only harmful, we are using it for the food also, we are using for the other thing. Like bread molds is the example of getting rottening up. But what about the penicillin? Okay, so penicillin is what? It is a one type of antibiotic which is obtained from penicillium. Full name was Penicillium notatum. Who find it? Alexander Flemings. With what? By mistake. Okay. And then Fleury and how, and remember na those things, antibiotic, these things will connect over here. They can ask you those things in a one question also. So the question types also you have to keep on remembering. Moving on, next to it, we have what? They can be present in wide range of habitat, means they are present in air, water, soil. Okay, so in terms of habitat, they are present in air, water, soil, everywhere they are present. Even on the animals and plants also they are present. So everywhere they are present. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Most of them are what? Multicellular. And one such unicellular, the example is the yeast. For yeast, you have to remember that it is also called as baker yeast, brewery yeast, or the wine yeast, beer yeast. So this thing also you have to remember about the fungi. That becomes an important one. But now we see its body. Now its body is what? Since it is multicellular, but they are thread-like. So imagine there are a lot of threads. Okay, so the single thread, the main body of the organism is called as what? Hyphae. Okay, so the basic things which are present on their body is called as hyphae. So it is represented in the body. So it is what? Thread-like structure. Thread-like structure. If it is a thread-like structure, so just think like this. This is a thread-like structure. Now inside this thread-like structure, there can be 2 different conditions that you can see. One is that inside the thread-like structure, multiple cells are present. So if I have to make a multiple cells like this, so this multiple cell condition is called as what? It is called as synocytic hyphae. Okay, very important. Whereas sometimes what happens, within this hyphae there are compartmentalization. Compartmentalization means there is a septa present. Septa is what? Look at my nose. My nose has 2 holes. This thing is what? The center one. That is the septa. Same over here, cuts are present. Imagine that this is the hyphae and inside it there are cuts present. Okay. Of course, the cuts can be proper cuts or there could be a space present so that things can move between these cells. Okay. If that cuts are present, that will make your nucleus into different compartment. So it will not look like it's a multicellular condition. It looks like that multiple cells are there and each cell have a nucleus present. If such condition is there, we call it asinocytic. This is asinocytic hyphae. So if someone will ask like what is making synocytic and asinocytic like appearance, that is septa. Okay, and that septa is called as septate. So if the septa is present, we call the hyphae as the septate hyphae. Or if it is not present, means when the multicellular condition will be appears, we call it aseptate. You will remember it. So it is what? On the basis of presence of this compartment or not presence of this compartment. Okay, so this is one thing you have to remember. Now there could be like this hyphae could have a branch also like this. So if the branching is present, it is called as branched hyphae, or it could be unbranched hyphae. So branched hyphae will have certain branches present. They are also growing like this. Whereas this is what? Unbranched hyphae, single lane over there. Okay, moving on to the next thing, that this hyphae is what? Singular structure. They come together and form a bigger structure. Okay, or the meshwork. So a thread is there, and if the thread is coming together, it is forming what? Cloths. So this cloth is called as what? This you have to remember. This is called as mycelium. So mycelium is what? Lot of these things are coming together like this. So this become your fungus aggregate. Okay, we can call it like that or remember it like this. Moving on to the next thing is that reproduction, which is very important, and lot of student has a problem with this topic. So reproduction in fungus or fungi. So when we are talking about the reproduction, you have to remember that three different ways are there. Earlier we used to say na, asexual and sexual, but here we divide into three different categories. So the line or division between sexual and the vegetative one is very less. Okay, but you have to remember it what NCERT is saying. So three different types are being given. So we have the vegetative, we have the asexual, we have the sexual. Okay, in the vegetative ones, we have three options. Either it will do fragmentation. What is fragmentation? One, this structure is there, cut, 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 body will cut itself, and then each will grow, each part, that is fragmentation. Next is the fission. What is fission? Easy one. This is one person, I divide into two, look like me. Okay, so that is fission. So fragmentation was what? Cut, cut, each part grow. This grow, this grow, this grow. Fission is what? Single part forms two. Okay, it could be single fission or multiple fission. Mostly the binary fissions are there. Okay, and the last one is the budding. Budding means simple outgrowth. For example, imagine there's some like this can, like, of course that would be a tumor, but imagine that something is growing from here. This is what bud. It detached off and it can grow further. It can detach or can even survive and keep on growing further. Means on one body there is a one bud, on that bud is further bud, further bud. So that happens in the yeast also when the multiple budding is taking place. So this bud thing is there, seen in the yeast case. Vegetative is completed. Now comes the asexual reproduction. When it comes to asexual reproduction, there is the formation of spores. Spores are formed. Now these spores, the three types of spores are there. Okay, so but we will divide into two major types. Two major types are present in the asexual one. What are these spores? One is conidia. Another one is the zoospores. Now remember one thing. Zoospores are also called as sporangiospore. Sporangiospores. Okay, so what is the difference? The conidias are the present externally. Means they will be present, like for example, if this is the fungus body. So means where they will be present? On this top area it will be present. So imagine it like if this is a fungus, then conidias will keep on growing like this. Okay, so these are present what? It is present exogenously. This thing you have to remember. You might have made a diagram something like this in the early age and wrote it that these things are what? These are the conidia. Okay, different sports. These are non-motile. Next point you have to remember. These are non-motile. Conidias are non-motile. Next thing comes the aplano or zoospore. Whenever the word zoo is coming, always remember zoo means motile. Means these spores will be motile. But they are present endogenously. And any spores you might have studied in the chapter number 1 of 12th class also. Spores are present inside a bag sporangium. So these are also present inside the bags. So they are present, like if I said no, they are endogenous. Endogenous where? Inside the bag. Okay, so they are present inside sporangium. Okay, next part is that they will be what? Motile. So very important. These things are little things which are which will be asked to you as a statements also. So here only we are covering if there's anything needed extra than NCERT or something which is not written but NCERT is saying in the encrypted form. Okay. Then comes the sexual reproduction. In the sexual reproductions, there is formation of spores, and those spores are called as what? They are called as either oospores, either it is called as ascospores, or it is called as basidiospores. Here I am writing basidiospores. Now we are not going more into the oospore, but we are definitely going about the ascospore and the basidiospore. Now always remember that the ascospores, they are present outside the body of the, like where they are present, and the body in which they are present we call them fruiting body. Okay, we don't call them what? We don't call them sporangium. We call them what? They are present inside fruiting body, and the fruiting body of ascospore is called as ascocarp. So here the fruiting body is ascocarp, whereas this fruiting body is called as basidiocarp. So ascocarps, which topics it will come? Ascomycetes. They are only shown by ascomycetes, whereas basidiospores will be seen by the basidiomycetes. Okay, so this thing will come again, there only we will study. But remember this thing that they are present inside a fruiting body called as, either they will present exogenously or they will present endogenously over here also. This is also important topic which will coincide with the asexual kinds of sports also, that similarities or dissimilarities kind of question if it came. Okay, that's all. Now the important question is that how the sexual cycle is taking place. Okay, so sexual reproduction, important topic is there. So what is happening? 3 steps will occur, and if there is any difference or certain, like sometimes happen na, like some of the fungus will be like, I am different, like they will be like, we are classmate, we are one of my kind. Okay, one of our kind means what? This is the one of the ad of the classmates, if you someone remember. Okay, moving back, the sexual reproduction. So if we are talking about the sexual cycle, it involves 3 steps. Number 1 is what? If the sexual cycle has to take place, what is needed? Male and female means 2 different body needs, then only we will call it sexual reproduction, then only there will be what? Genetic variations will come. So if 2 cells are, so here what happened? They don't have any major cells, but the cells are present. So what happened? 2 cells comes and fuses. This is one body cell, another body cell, they will come and fused. As they fused, since what is fusing? The plasma is fusing, so we call it what? The protoplasm fusion occur. Now this plasma, as it fuses, this step is known as what? Plasmogamy. Okay, so the first step would be what? Plasmogamy. Now once they are fuses, inside it, it has its own nucleus. It has its own nucleus. Now the nucleus will fuse. Okay, so the second step is nuclear fusion. Since for nucleus we used word karyo, so we will call it what? Karyogamy. Gamy means is fusion, na? Union. Okay. And the third ones, once they are fused. Now what is the problem? Ploidy increased. This cell, if has n ploidy, this has n ploidy, n plus n, 2n. Generation changed. And I have always told that once that thing becomes double, it becomes problem. You know now that even one single chromosome extra leads to Klinefelter syndrome. Okay, think about it. What will happen here? The whole of the genetics has changed. So what will happen? Here they have to reduce it to the half. They made it double. They want to reduce it to the half. If something has to be reduced, what type of cell division to be done? Meiosis. Okay, so the next step is what? Meiosis in zygote. If some will ask that why it is taking place, who will ask? Beta, assertion and reason based question will ask. So what will happen over here? This meiosis, when this will occur, this will reduce the ploidy to restore genetic ploidy level of organism. Okay, so what happened? There was NN, cell meets together, forms 2N, and now they are undergoing what? Meiosis to form what? Haploid cells, or the generations completed. Now becomes a very interesting thing. In most of the cases, what happened? These steps occur simultaneously, means plasmogamy followed by karyogamy followed by reduction division. But in some of the fungi, they were like, we are one of our kind. Okay, so in some of the fungus or the fungi, the karyogamy does not immediately followed by plasmogamy. Means what happened? There are two nucleus present in the cell. So when the two nucleus is present, can we write it? Two means what? Di. What is present? Nucleus. For the nucleus, what is the scientific word? Carry. And this is a condition. This is the problem which they are going through. So we will write it on. So means this condition of two nucleus present at a common time is called as dikaryon. And it will occur for little period of a time, like puberty is a phase, adolescent is a phase. Same here, this is also a phase. So this phase, dikaryon phase, we call it this. So these two things, remember, on, condition, phase, phase. So in some of them, what happened? The karyogenesis is not taking place immediately. So they will wait. So taking the wait time, what do we call this stage? We call this phases as what? A dikaryon phase. And this condition is called as dikaryon phase. Now this is all about the things. Okay. So remember this, these are haploid spores, or the haploid things that are being formed, which will germinate and form the body. This is the basic thing. So now we're going to see the different divisions of the kingdom fungi. So there are 4 divisions given in NCERT, starting with the very first one, that is phycomycetes. So the first division, So the first division of fungi is phycomycetes. Now the phycomycetes, first thing in these questions, now you will target it like what? 2 different types of questions will be. First will be the example based, match the following, direct, or anything can come. And the second one will come what? Second one will be the statement based, is also given. So what are the examples? So in the examples, number 1 is your mucor. And the mucus diagram is given. That is what? It is a white kind of hyphae are seen. Okay, so this kind of diagram is given. Probably it won't be asked to you. Okay, because this diagram, if they paste it in the paper, nothing will be shown in their question paper. So it won't be coming. The next thing that is there is the presence of rhizopus. Now here the important thing is this is rhizophus. In your syllabus there is another organisms whose name is rhizophora, and student get problems. They mark the wrong one, get confused. So here is the one important thing that you have to remember, that rhizopus is the fungus. And what is this fungus? It is the one which causes the bread mold. Means your bread is getting wasted by this. Then the third one is the albugo. This albugo is what? Albugo is the parasitic fungi on the mustard plant. So it is a parasitic ones. Parasitic fungi on mustard. Now, the next thing is that what would be their nutrition or habitat? When it comes to the habitat, they live in wide range of habitat. So they could be in the aquatic. They are present on the dead decaying organisms. Habitat and nutrient, I am working over here. They present on the dead decaying organisms, means they are what? Saprophytic. Dead decaying wood mostly. Then they could be obligate parasite. When I'm saying the obligate parasite, means what? Strictly parasite. So means albugo, they can even write it, albugo is the obligate parasite, which means it can't survive without doing the parasitism on the mustard. Okay, so this thing is there. Moving on to the next one, they are present in what? Damp places, moist and damp places. Okay, the next thing which you have to remember about everyone, that is the mycelium. What is mycelium? Mycelium is the body. So the mycelium over here is what? It is aseptate. If it is aseptate, means septa is not present, means multi-nucleated condition is seen, means they are what? Cenocytic. This is cenocytic fungus. The next thing you have to remember, that they are unbranched. Okay, but that you do not given in NCERT, so we are not even talking about it. Okay, moving on to the next thing. After this, the next important point is the reproduction. So in reproduction, earlier we have said that three different types of reproduction: fragmentation, vegetative, asexual and sexual. In the vegetative, what we have studied, that three different types are there: fragmentation, budding, and all of those fission is there. We are not talking about it because in all of the other ones we are mostly talking about asexual and the sexual ones. So here our next important topic is sexual reproduction. Now the sexual reproduction, over there I said that three different things are there, but NCERT has written only two things over there. What was that? Conidia and the zoospores, which is also called as what? Tell. Sporangiospores, because they are present in the sporangium. Okay, but over here we will learn one different types within that sporangiospore. Okay, so this is what that you have to remember, that two different types of spores are present in them. Okay, there won't be presence of any conidia, there will be presence of sporangiospore. So you will remember it that sporangiospores are present. Now these sporangiospores could be motile and could be non-motile. Zoospores, if it is present, they will be motile. If aplanospores are present, they will be non-motile, and that becomes a very important topic. Okay, so that is what, either zoospores or it will be aplanospores would be present. Now the important thing is zoospore will be motile, this will be non-motile. With this, your asexual is completed. Next comes the sexual reproduction. Here you have to remember one fact, that in the sexual reproduction, what we used to say, that the gametes will form. Till now we didn't say. Normally in the sexual reproduction, what is happening? Gametes has to form. Okay, here also gametes will form. So the first thing will be what? About this, gamete formation will occur. If the gametes are being formed, then the gametes could be of two major categories. What could be their categories? Either they could be similar, so that will be what? Isogametes, or it could be different. We call it heterogametes. Hetero means different. If it is different, it could be further of two types. One is anisogametes, means gametes which are dissimilar to each other, male look different, female look different. Or it could be oogametes. And when we come to eugametes, it is strictly like that. The female would be large, bigger, non-motile, where would be male would be small and motile. Okay. Then comes in the sexual reproduction, same thing, the sexual cycle. What is what? Plasmogamy, karyogamy, and the zygote will do the meiosis. The zygote that is being formed here, it is called as zygospores. This is the important topic. So zygospore is what? Nothing. It is the zygote that is formed. Okay, so this zygospore can be asked to you and you will get confused. You might think that, okay, this is something what? Zoospores. But no, zygospore is the zygote. And what maximum they can ask you from here? That your zoospore on zygospore, what is their ploidy level? Your zygospore is the only cell which has the ploidy of diploid. Whereas all the other cells, think, body part of the fungi, they will be what? Haploid. Means these gametes will also be haploid. These will be also haploid. Body will also be haploid. Important question, you have to remember it. So these are the division phycomycetes. Then comes the division number 2. In division 2, it is called as ascomycetes. Till now, what we know about the ascomycetes, that certain similar word we have studied as the ascospores. Means ascospores will come here. We will learn about it, understand about it. So next is the division 2, that is ascomycetes. Now, when we are studying about the ascomycetes, I told you that every division, first thing what we have to study? We have to study about the examples. So here we have a lot of examples. So we have to study a lot of examples over here. So the number 1 example is the yeast. Yeast is the only unicellular organism present in it. Okay, so it is the unicellular. Rest about yeast we have studied in 12th class. Okay, there we have done it. Okay, after yeast, the next thing is the penicillin. So your penicillin is what? It is the antibiotics. It also come under is penicillium nototum. Okay, penicillin is being secreted by it. Then we have what? Neurospora. So neurospora is what? It is highly used in biochemical and genetic studies. Okay, so very important. You have to remember it. This has been in the PYQs a lot of time. Okay, so neurospora is what? It is your useful in the biochemical and genetic studies. Biochemical and genetic studies. Moving on to the next one is the clavichips. Clavichips. It's a little wrong spelling. Clavichips. Clavichips is there. Then after clavichips, we have to remember about the one that is asparagus. The asparagus, its diagram is given in your NCERT, so you have to remember something like this. So this is what the diagram of asparagus is being given to you. After asparagus, you have two more ones, that is morels and truffles, and these are the delicacies. Delicacies means which are highly tasty but very expensive dishes, and only the people with the higher taste understand it. I never got a chance to eat it because I am getting no money from anywhere. So the things are what? Truffles. Truffles. Meanwhile, this is not the choco truffles. Okay, so truffles and morels. These are what? Delicacies. When I'm calling delicacies means edible. Okay, these are the edible delicacies. Coming back to the major question, the habitat and the nutrient. Habitat and nutrition. So you have to remember that they can be decomposers. They can be coprophilous, means growing on the dung. They could be saprophytic. They could be parasitic. They could be anything. Okay, next is the body, that is the mycelium. The mycelium over here, this and the next, all the rest two also, they are what? They are, there is the presence of septa, so means they are septate, means they are acinocytic, means multinucleated condition is not present in them. Okay, and they are branched. So means everything will look like what? Something like this. Okay, like this mycelium will be there. Of this also, of the next two also. Okay, you have to remember this thing. Next come the next thing is the reproduction. Very important topic. So as we are studying earlier, here also vegetative reproduction, budding in the east and all these examples will be there. But our concern is what? Asexual and the sexual ones, how it is taking place. If we are going with the asexual ones, then there is a formation of what? Or conidospores and all. Okay. But when we comes up to the sexual ones, then what happens? Then there is a formation of ascospores. So first, asexual reproduction. In the asexual reproduction, there is formation of conidia. Now I told you that conidia forms outside. Like for example, this is, imagine this is the conidia, and if I'm saying that this is the conidia, what is this? These each part is different conidiospores, and this structure is conidiophore, the stalk on which it is present. So this is what? Conidia. Conidias are present on special stem called as conidiophore. Okay, so this structure I am making. So these are conidia. What is this? This is conidiophore. Four, or wherever is coming, stalk, something like which is stalk. Okay, means stem like thing present. And then conidia will germinate and produce a new mycelium. One of the conidia will go discharge new places, new mycelium will form. This is asexual reproduction. Let's talk about the sexual reproduction. Now in sexual reproduction, the first thing that you will remember that they will produce the spores called as ascospores. Spores will be produced called as ascospores. They will be present inside a structure, sac-like structure. Present inside sac-like structure called as ascocarp. This also you have to remember. Plus, this is a sac-like structure. This ascomycetes is also called as sac fungi. Means these spores are what? These spores are endogenous. If they are present inside means what? Endogenous. Important thing which most of the students forget. Okay, this is all about this thing. And this ascocarp, which is a sac-like structure, this thing is called as what? Fruiting body. Okay, so this is what? It is a fruiting body on which this will be present. With this, your ascomycetes are over. The next is our basidomycetes. So when it comes to the third division, that is division 3, basidomycetes. Basidomycetes. In the topic basidomycetes, again we have to go with first what? Examples. So here it is easier because less examples are there. So what are the examples? Number one example is your mushroom, whose diagram is also being given. What is the scientific name of mushroom? Agaricus. So first is agaricus. That is your mushroom, whose diagram is also given. So you have to remember that mushrooms belongs to where? It belongs to our stomach. No, not to our stomach, but it belongs to basidomycetes. The next example to this is that is ostiligo. Now this ostiligo is what? Smut, which causes disease, means it's a parasite. So this is smut. Okay. Next to this is the Puccinia, where we have studied about Puccinia. It caused what? Wheat rust. Okay. So it is also what? Parasitic. Puccinia, it is what? Rust fungus. We have already studied about it. Most probably it will be asked to you. Okay, so this is the basic thing that you have to remember. Other than this, there are like mushrooms we eat, certain other types of fungi which are also there which we eat, like the puffballs. Okay, leave this puffballs. The important thing is that this fungi is also called as puffballs or bracket fungi. Okay, similarly the ascomycetes are called as what? Sac fungi. They are called as puffballs or bracket fungi. Bracket fungi. Now the next thing is that where it grows. Okay, so habitat / nutrition. If we're talking about this topic, then they grows on the soil, log, parasitic is on other organisms. So everywhere they are present. Mostly they are what? Plant parasites. Plant parasites. Okay, then we know that mushroom can grow anywhere, in the log, dung, and everywhere. Okay, so it can grow on dead decaying organisms. Organic matter. Organism or organic matter, same thing over here. Okay, don't get confused. The next is the mycelium. I told you that the mycelium of ascomycetes, similar kind of will be basidiomycetes, similar kind of will be the deuteromycetes. So the mycelium is what? It is septate. What I have written? It is septate and branched. If it is septate means what? It will be cynocytic. Means there will be it will be acynocytic. Means there will be what? Cuts are present, multicellular condition is not seen. Then we come to the reproduction. Again, we have to see only two types of reproductions. What are that? We have to first see the asexual, then the sexual ones. The asexual reproduction over here, not generally like generally not found. Okay, but the vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common over here. Okay, so generally not found. Very important statement. But vegetative reproduction will take place, and that too by what? By the fragmentation. This is very important. That this you will see definitely in the basidiomycetes. Okay, then next come to be what? That there is what? There is sexual reproduction. So in sexual reproduction, what will happen? There will be first step, that would be what? Plasmogamy. The plasmogamy will do what? Karyogamy. This karyogamy will make what? It will make a structure. Okay, that is called as basidium. Basically, it is what? After plasmogamy, the N plus N will fuse and forms 2N. Means your amount of what we say that the ploidy level increased. If the ploidy level is increased in the basidium, it has to be reduced. The next step is what? Meiosis. So this basidium will inside it the cells will undergo meiosis and form basidiocarp. And these like basidium will make the basidiospores. Sorry, this is basidiospores. Basidiospores, which are what? Haploid in structure, and then they will form the new mycelium body. So this thing you have to remember. So here the fruiting body is what? Basidiocarp or basidium. Okay, inside with the basidiums are present. Now the only thing is that this basidiospores, they are present on the outside. So if you look like this, it appears something like this. So this is your basidiocarp, and inside it your basidiospores are present. So these things are this one. Okay, formed by the haploid divisions. That's all about the basidiomycetes. Next and the last one is the deuteromycetes. So next division 4 is the deuteromycetes. I personally call it what? I personally remember it like a dustbin fungi. Dustbin fungi means that you found a new fungi and you don't know about their sexual stage, what kind of sexual reproduction is do, whether it will do ascomycetes kind of spores or the basidiomycetes of soul. I will put it directly into deuteromycetes. So it is a dustbin, throw anything over there. Okay, so but once the studies are completed, it has been rightly taken up from the deuteromycetes and put forward into the right divisions where it belongs to. So over here, if any fungi whose sexual stage is not known, we call it what? We put it them deuteromycetes. First thing, since this fungi, it's proper, everything is not known, so it's not perfect enough right now. So we call this thing is what? Imperfect fungi or imperfecta fungi division. Like sac is there, basidium is there, okay, puffballs are there, same over here. Now, the next most important thing in any topic is what? Remembering about the examples. So here 3 examples are there. What is that? Number 1 is Alternaria, whose diagram is not given in NCERT. Just name you have to remember. Alternaria, Coleotrichum, and the third one is Trichoderma. Now this trichoderma is very important because in 12th class in different chapters its name is coming up. Okay, so you have to remember this trichoderma a lot, its function. Okay, that how it is helpful to humans or to the agriculture or anything. Okay, so these 3 names you will remember. Other things I have told you that it's sexual reproduction stage is not clear. That's why we put it into it. So this is your major assertion reason also completed over here. Moving on, the next thing that we used to study is what? That their body or the mycelium. It is what? I told you it is also same, that it is what? Septate, means asyncytic and branched. This thing you have to remember. Now the next thing is the habitat, which I forgot to tell you first. Habitat and nutrition. So in terms of habitat and nutrition, you have to remember that they are saprophyte or parasitics. Most of them are saprophytic parasites, but they even help in the nutrients recycling, so they are decomposers also. This thing also you have to remember. Next, directly come on the reproduction, that they have vegetative or asexual reproduction, and we call them single name by that. We don't say that, okay, this is fragmentation, so it should be vegetative or something. We call it single. This is asexual. Okay, like that, the confusions which is there. So here it is also like that. That's it about this one. Okay, so if someone will ask like where they usually go to, NCERT says that either basidiomycetes or ascomycetes. Well, that's all for the kingdom fungi. I know it's a longer video. You can listen it over 1.5x. It would be easier for you. I hope this video help you out in understanding this thing and your notes would be ready. Well, that's all for this video. I will come up tomorrow with another very important topics from chapter number 3, that is the plant kingdom. Thank you.